Hello everyone, I welcome all of you for this LEED Green Associate exam preparation course. This is Sarunan J. Bharati from Carbon Figure Academy. In this video, we will talk about module number 2, Integrative Process. So before going into the content, Integrative Process is not a quantitative based one, it is a qualitative based one, which means before sitting and submitting or during the discussion stage of a building design for any of the category, either it's a new building construction or a interior project or O&M, whatever it is. So how you allocate the resources efficiently, and very importantly how you allocate them integratedly, right? So it's this particular credit is all about how you approach the LEED project. Okay, so while you are starting your construction or while you are on the verge of going for the certification process. Okay, so how you assess the internal resources and how you effectively integrate them, right? So the typical reality of this particular credit, it's sometimes with some projects this would be only available in the documents, but it's not practiced, right? So even during the project certification stage, sometimes people don't integratedly work, right? They work on their credit separately and they just submit it in the last. Okay, so but the entire idea of this particular credit is how you approach the LEED project as a highly integrated network, right? So how you trade off between one credit and another credit for the better outcome, right? So that's the point I wanted to mention before the start of this session, right? And if you see the definition, integrated design process, it's actually a crucial for achieving sustainability, ensuring that all participants work cohesively as an open unified team. By adopting whole building or holistic design methods, projects can achieve forward-thinking sustainable outcomes. So if you see the design process in a traditional construction practice, this is how the curve goes, right? So the quantum of effort you put over the timeline of the entire project, starting from the design level, construction level, and actual construction and utilization phase, right? And if you see the ability to control cost, it goes down over the time of the construction proceeds, right? Initially, when you are at a design stage, you have a better quality control over the cost and other things, right? On the other hand, if you see cost of design changes, that's what very important, because when you start your construction, you are at a 0 point and you can overlook about all the requirements and integratedly connect them and achieve them in your design at the very earlier phase itself. But once you lock the design and look for the green building certification, then it's a bad choice. Okay, then the cost of the changes that you have to make for the sake of green building, then it would be a whole different process. You, for the sake of building construction, you designed something. For the sake of a green building certification, you modified and changed the design for something. It's like people used to say, the government always lays the road first, then they realize that they have to bury the pipeline underneath it. Then they crack the road and put the pipes inside. So that kind of a scenario will happen if you are following a traditional design process. But in integrated process, it's all hand to hand it is happening. So you can understand the cost of design changes and ability to control cost is quite adjustable or achievable in case if you are following a integrated project based process, right? So documenting as the model is built, involving constructions and other suppliers, eliminating the clashes, right? So that's what sorry, it's not a utilization phase, I said it's a litigation phase. Okay, so there is no litigation, right? So that's what they are saying. Over the traditional design process, try to prefer integrated project process, right? So that the effort that you put will be very maximum in the beginning, and during the further stages it would be evenly distributed, right? On the other hand, in the traditional thing, if you see the effort, the quantum of effort actually had to be in the center point construction documents, right? Because during the design you don't forecast, during the design level of implementation you don't forecast, right? So forecasting matters, right? So the phases of integrative process, if you see, they say 3 phases: discovery, implementation, and performance feedback. And if you see the discovery phase, it's all about conducting a pre-design workshops to set project goals, to make everybody aware about what they are going to achieve or what they want to achieve, right? Perform basic analysis of energy and water systems for a typical building design, and from that you can move on further. Then implementation. So it's all about understanding the system interactions identified during the discovery, then document the outcomes in the OPR and BOD. So OPR, I hope you understand, owner program requirement or project requirement. OPR means what? Somewhere we said, yes, here it is, owner's program requirement. BOD means basis of design, right? Then performance feedback, develop feedback mechanisms to optimize building operations and make corrective adjustments over the period of that use phase, right? Then if you see the principles of integrative process, 4 different principles are there. So from the exam perspective, you need to know about these things, right? Integrated project delivery, IPD, then integrated project team, then systems thinking, and a lifecycle approach, right? So what is that integrated project delivery? It's a modern project delivery approach that replaces traditional methods like design build or design bid build. It emphasizes early and continuous collaboration among all key stakeholders, including property owners, architects, general contractors, engineers, fabricators, and subcontractors, right? So very importantly, the term called design chart comes here. So in the exam, they may ask, what is a design chart, right? So a design chart is an essential component of an IPD, integrated project delivery. It's a pre-design brainstorming session. It's nothing but a brainstorming session, right? Where project goals are established, ideas are exchanged among the stakeholders and team members, and challenges are identified. This session promotes an integrated, cohesive planning process from the outset, right? And if you see the further subdivided phases of integrated project delivery, 5 different phases are there. So, just like the flow of your construction project. It starts with the pre-design phase. So what's the focus? Data collection, project goal setting, evaluation of the green technologies. And what is the specific activities? Initial discussions to align on sustainability objectives and project scope. Then you start the design actually, right? Schematic design, then design development, then construction documents. SD, DD, and CD, right? So what is schematic design? Development of preliminary design concepts and project layouts is what? Schematic design. Then design development, creation of more detailed designs, including building systems and energy models. Then construction documents means preparation of comprehensive construction documentation required for approvals, permitting, and bidding, right? So each and every terminology that you see is like a 1 mark question, which means a prospective question, right? So in bidding, that's the third phase. What's the objective? Selection of contractors based on the detailed construction documents. And what is the expected outcome? Finalization of contractors to begin the construction process. Then finally you jump into the commissioning phase, where you realize the purpose and engage with the methodology. Ensure all systems and facilities perform as intended, and on-site verification and testing to document compliance with the design specifications, right? That's the actual commissioning activity, right? On-site verification and testing to document compliance with the design specification, right? So for the period of the construction till the end of the construction, so 6 months or 10 months, whatsoever it may be, depending on the largeness of the project. So occupancy, if you see, that's the final step. Issuance of the certificate of occupancy, and the building is ready for the use by its occupants, right? So that's all about the integrated project delivery. First element of the integrated process. First principle of the integrated process. Second principle is project team, integrated project team. So which means the human resources. It's a critical component for the success of the integrated project, integrated design process. It comprises key stakeholders and professionals from various disciplines working collaboratively toward shared project goals. So this is the moment where people are sought the LEED GA or LEED AP certified professionals as part of the team, right? So key requirements for an effective integrated project team. So there should be a strong communication coordination, which ensures that all team members remain aligned and informed throughout the project. And thorough analysis for innovation solutions, because that encourages data-driven approaches to develop creative and effective design strategies. Sometimes if you are fortunate enough to work in such a big company where this team would be having an architect also, right? So you do the design part, you do the engineering design part, you do the elevation part, and you do the green certification part. That's the most beautiful experience you can have, right? But that doesn't happen, all the places, because people are segregated as different companies and different layers. Okay, so the owners are there, they hire architects, and the hire architect the consultant, and the consultant architect the professionals, right? That would be the typical hierarchy of the team members. So most of the time you would be sitting in different places of the earth and working on the same project, right? But after couple of time breaks. So that actually a typical practical limitation of this integrated project team. They don't conversate much. They just follow what is to be done. That's all, right? But that's not the actual and ideal scope of this integrated project team, right? So early and ongoing collaboration, which means that involves all team members from the project's inception through every phase to maximize efficiency and integration, right? And finally, informed decision making, very important, because that utilizes the input from all the members to align with the project goals and resolve potential conflicts proactively, right? Then the third principle of the integrative process is system thinking approach. So you try to see as a big picture always, not always as a localized, focused perspective, right? So when you think about the ongoing, the war happening between America, Israel, Iran, and so allied countries of both the sides, we really don't understand. But when you zoom out and understand the little bit of history and geopolitical scenarios, you will understand the reasons quite better, right? So that's the typical example, how you see the project as a system rather than as a integrated or segregated, not integrated, as a segregated elements of task. Okay, that task is to paint the wall, right? And that task is to purchase the furniture. No, it's not about randomly painting the wall. I should focus on the emission of the paint, and so as to come up with the low VOC paint. And it's not only simply about the furniture purchase, right? I should ask the owners whether they are okay with the second hand furnitures which are having a separate market, and accordingly purchase, so that I can reduce the emissions on the other hand and reduce the natural resources depletion on the other hand, right? So that's how you treat your project as a system, right? So it emphasizes that changes to one part of a system can impact the other parts. That's what I said. So you choose a paint and you decides to purchase a furniture, they are integrated, right? It's not a separate act of different task, right? It helps in understanding the interrelationship between components and avoid solutions that fix one issue while creating another. So you all should very much clear that on the excitement of achieving a particular credit, that activity should not degrade or should not pull down the possibility of getting the points in some other credit, right? So that's why the integrative process comes to the picture very first before going to know about all other credits, right? So what is the ultimate objective? Design integrated solutions that account for the entire system's dynamics. For example, replacing a single glazed window with the triple glazed ones reduces heat loss. That is fine. But what happens? But requires a stronger structure and a smaller HVAC system for optimal efficiency. Because instead of a single glaze, you are going triple glaze. You are loading the foundation more. You are coming up with more dead load, right? Accordingly, you may need to design the foundation, more material, more excavation, everything, right? So that's the typical visual representation. Traditional thinking is going like 1 to 2, but system thinking scatters all 1 to 10 and try to understand the relationship between 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 2 to 1, 4 to 1, all these together, right? So it's like a open loop system. We can say unsustainable. Where it is a closed loop, it's quite sustainable. So what's that? So it's a open loop means a linear system. Resources are extracted, manufactured, used, discarded as waste. Right. Closed loop means it's a circular system. You are trying to address the resource utilization and other recycling potential. Right. So that's what the systems they are trying to convey: open loop and closed loop. So for becoming more sustainable, your building project system should work as a closed loop system, right? The last one, life cycle approach. So the life cycle approach in LEED focuses on assessing the environmental impacts of a project throughout its entire lifespan, from raw material extraction to end of life disposal. This approach ensures sustainable decision making by identifying areas to reduce carbon footprint and resource use, right? So what are the key phases? We all know that, material extraction, manufacturing, construction, operation and maintenance, and end of life, right? So it is for a building as a whole of the building. So this particular life cycle approach you should have in your mind, so that for certain materials you won't go for a unrecyclable or non-recyclable nature. For example, a material called wallpaper. So when you think about a wallpaper as a walling solution, it's quite aesthetic, good, everything nice. But at the end of life of that product, it would be very difficult to recycle that wallpaper, because when you peel off, it not only comes out of the wall, it also comes with some amount of the paint on the wall which you already applied. So by that nature, that final waste is very difficult to recycle. So ultimately what happened, because of that poor nature during the end of life, it is ultimately going to the landfill rather than going for a recycling plant. Do you understand? So by thinking about the end of life of the wallpaper, you should decide whether you really need it or not during the procurement stage. So that's what the entire idea of this life cycle approach. You don't see simply, okay, I want this product, I purchase it. No, what happens after the end of life? I don't mind. So that should not be there. You should think about the end of life behavior of so and so product you purchase and you put it into your building, right? So that's what the entire idea of life cycle approach, right? So that's the end of the first credit, integrative process. In the next video, we will talk about the module 3, location and transport credit. Thank you.